I just wanted to come back in to answer some questions that have come in here on the chat because they were great questions and I didn't want to leave them till Saturday to answer. Some people were asking about the front of the heart. There are actually several questions coming in about this. What do I do if my heart's too closed? What do we do about the front of the heart chakra? So I'm just going to say some things about the front of the heart. So remember in this workshop, I talked about how there can be appropriate protection around the heart if there has been deeper patterns of hurt, if there has been an experience that was painful, if there's been vulnerability in the heart that hasn't quite been addressed or healed. For this reason, the heart chakra goes into protection, and specifically in the front side. If the front of the heart feels blocked, it's because the front of the heart is saying, it's not exactly safe for me to connect or engage on this level. And why is that? If we tune in, we might find that there might have been experiences or maybe even teachings or conditioning from childhood that says, it's not okay to be in your heart with others. You have to be practical. You have to be rational. You have to be scientific. It's not okay to be heart-centered. Well, opening up the front of the heart when there's actually conditioning underneath that doesn't allow us to connect to the self, our true self, doesn't always mean that the front will open up. And sometimes if it does, sometimes it can be a very vulnerable, messy, disorganized, an emotional experience if we're opening up prematurely. So for the front of the heart, what I recommend is that we focus on the back of the heart. And that's why we did this meditation, is that when we start to receive light in through the back of the heart, and we're starting to source ourselves and we're giving ourselves connection, and when we feel ourselves there in the back of the heart, we are able to start to tend to the emotions and the feelings that were there. And that was the clearing work we did in this class. So what I recommend is that you, for now, that you don't necessarily focus on trying to open up the front of the heart, that you spend some time engaging this flow of grace into the back of the heart and allow that healing, that light to come in to the center of the heart, because inevitably it will do one of two things. It will start the process of healing the energy in the heart so that the heart does open in the front. Or if it's too open in the front, it will actually start to balance and bring that energy back in so it's a little more centered. So ultimately, all we need to do is really bring attention to the back of the heart for it to open up and receive grace. And then from there, the front side starts to balance. If it's too open, it will come back in. If it's too closed, it will start to unfurl. But it comes from sourcing yourself through the backside of the heart. So we're going to talk more in our next class, but right now I'd like you to really stay focused on self-love, love coming into self through the back of the heart, and then see what happens as you meditate and integrate that, and what might happen as you're feeling into it, what might happen for the front side of your heart chakra and how the front and back could balance. The next question that came in is, after receiving the healing, how do you take care of your heart or stay connected to the heart healing we just received? So this is consciousness work. And the consciousness work is that when we go into a deep guided journey, our consciousness has just opened a doorway. We've basically opened awareness, which can feel like your system taking a snapshot of an experience. You're imprinted with that experience. So what you can do is you can, whenever you're out there in the world, and believe me, I'm somebody who has to leave work and then go into being a mom. How do I carry that with me? Well, when I'm in the moment where normally it's, wow, I have to switch gears, I have to come into a different part of my body to engage, or even if it feels like I'm going into a situation that's potentially triggering, I can, or you can, in this moment, here's what I'd recommend is that you take a moment, and it can be 3 seconds, and you close your eyes and you feel back into the feeling state, or you feel back into the picture or the image that you were with in that healing, that allowed you to feel your heart, allowed you to feel the backside of your heart, allowed you to feel grounded and grounding in your body, or allowed that waterfall of light. That you take this imagery, these concepts, these meditations with you in your day-to-day life. And that's how you can implement them into your life. It's like your off the mat work. So it's a yoga analogy, but we do our practice and then we have to go out into the world. So take your practice with you as you step out into the world. And you can allow yourself you can allow your heart to even be surrounded with light for extra protection. And that might support you as you do these deep healings and then you go out into the world. So following this healing tonight, I invite you to take good care of yourself. You can drink a lot of water, sleep, to get some rest, just be mindful of your back body. And we are going to go in further into deeper healing in our next class. And until then, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here and joining this powerful collective of people coming together to heal themselves for the sake of your own personal healing and for the planet. And I so look forward to seeing you in our next event.